Welcome to the Bad Girls on Business, the podcast that makes business more fun so you want to do more of it. Here are your hostesses with the mostesses, Jenny Bellinger, Virginia Muskies, and Michelle Nedelec.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Bad Girls on Business, the only show in the industry that is safe, sane, and consensual. We'll be nice, naughty, or kinky as our guests require. And we'll even give them a safe word in case we get out of hand. It's meatloaf, because we would do anything for business, but we won't do that. I'm Virginia Muskies, the referral alchemist, and with me today are...
Jenny Bellinger, your direct sales dom, helping you whip your business into shape. And
I am Michelle Nedelec, your mistress in business, helping you get it up and keep it up. And of course, we're talking about revenue and profit.
And today we have a naughty, kinky guest that I met, oh my gosh, probably 7 or 8 years ago. It's Lisa Cherney. And Lisa has been advising millionaire entrepreneurs for over 23 years. Man, she's been doing it since she was like 6 years old. You are amazing, Lisa Cherney. Lisa is the host of the groundbreaking Get Effin' Real podcast. In 2014, she got real and dismantled her successful 7-figure business because she stopped enjoying it. Now at 51, she knows her mission is to mentor evolving experts so they heal business shame and unapologetically take a stand in their marketing and in their life while enjoying a right-sized, highly profitable, liberated business. Welcome to the show, Ms. Lisa Cherney.
Hello, ladies.
So, woohoo, hey, we sound like a bunch of Mrs. Doubtfires. What is...
My dad just watched that movie last night.
Oh dear Lord! All right, so listen, Lisa, I got to tell you, I really love that because this need for personal and professional authenticity and building a business that is like right for you, not somebody else's version of what you should be, is something that we all struggle with, and then we get imposter syndrome and fun stuff like that. So what do you want our listener to know right now off the bat about you and about your business?
What do I want them to know? I want them to know that they should learn from all of our mistakes, all our collective mistakes, and just right out of the gate, do their best to be authentic. Now, I know that's not always easy. And sometimes we don't even know what that means. Like, what does it even mean to be myself, to be authentic? And I think then that's the work. Let me discover, let me figure out, let me own it. Let me play with different things, try them on, and until you find the right cozy thing. And then of course we evolve and it changes, and allowing that as well.
I love that. I was going to say, I love that, first of all, because so many people, authenticity is a buzzword right now, but what does it mean to everybody is also different. But what I love, so in reading your bio, the other effing real fun facts about Lisa are, your first one, you and I.
You're lazy like me?
I'm lazy. Yes. I work my ass off, but I work my ass off in a way to make sure that I can be as lazy as possible.
It makes me really efficient.
Yes.
It's hilarious because I'm not lazy, but so God, I think lazy is a virtue, and I think God blesses it because otherwise, you get really, really sick, and God takes away your ability to work yourself to death. And then you're like, well, shit, I have to do this in 4 hours. And somehow you do. So there's that. So congratulations on that one.
Well, and I think that feeds into, Lisa, your authenticity. The fact that you're sharing that with the world in your bio, putting that out there for people to know about you, I absolutely adore. So how has that played into you moving from your 7-figure business that you dismantled into this new one that you're doing now?
Laziness equals desire for spaciousness. That's how the laziness is sort of matured. And it's still, I don't want to work hard, and work all the time. Mm-hmm. But it's really not lazy, right? Like, that's what society wants us to feel like. Oh, we're being lazy because we're not working all the time, or striving, or have all these standards, or with work ethic and all that, which is all BS. So now I know it's like, I want spaciousness to like feel and be and like listen to my intuition and listen to my body and all these like crazy things like self-care and be with my family and really feel what's right for me instead of that autopilot, like you said at the top of the show, like the automatically feeling like this is the way it needs to be done, to like pause long enough to go, they said that's how you need to do it, but I don't like that, and really, really feeling that truth. So I'm blessed to have a low tolerance for not feeling good. And so that's how I let go of my 7-figure business. It was like, I cannot be like dragging this out. Like I'm talking about people like living a like peaceful, prosperous life. I can't be faking it.
Talk to me about the shame around laziness as a thing, because I think a lot of people do feel a lot of shame that you mentioned in the bio is they want a certain lifestyle, but they've been told that that's wrong, it's bad. It's like, talk to us about that and your opinion of it.
Yeah, I actually want to add a dimension to the conversation around laziness because it's highly there's a lot of impact on our culture and our heritage. And I done like a deep dive on, racial bias work for myself. And so I feel like I'm just more aware that the deep influences of our culture, our background, the impact of the color of our skin and the story that creates sometimes around hard work and deservedness and all that. So it's pretty fucking complicated, honestly. And worth like looking into and unpacking. It's like, what is driving me? Like, is it because my parents immigrated from another country with $2 in their pocket and like I just want to be grateful and like do my part, but does that mean I need to be a doctor even though I don't want to be, even that's what my parents want me to be, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's just so much there's so much in it, and that goes back to authenticity of like, okay, like what is my true level of work ethic, for just as an example, like what does that even mean to me? Like right now my work ethic is intimacy with my clients and really seeing them and serving them personally, and like I am fuck leverage, I'm over it, that's just not like, to me it's just not what fuels me to have distance between me and who I'm working with. So I work with 16 people at any given time, real intimately, like day-to-day conversations and connections, and like emailing them myself with things or whatever. And that's what feels good to me now. And that's what's authentic to me now in terms of all that. So I think that's such a journey, right? To like figure that out for ourselves and unravel like the impact of gender and race and like all that. It's so, there's a lot in there.
And I think in particularly right now in the sort of online marketing industry that is evolving and expanding because of the pandemic and all of that. I just did 18 months of like, I am going to master the Jeff Walker, like product launch formula, right?
Oh, girl.
I'm here to tell you that I did not. I crashed and burned. And like, I mean, I'm bruised and my bank account is sad and, but what I think was really valuable for me that came out of it, one, anyone who knows me, although I'm a little harebrained right now, like I'm calmer and I'm more processed, right? Like I understand the need for at least a spreadsheet with links so that you're not constantly being like, I can't find the link. Where's the link? Where's the, like that constant, I feel like I used to be Pigpen with all like the to-dos in a big cloud around me. And that sort of dust I feel like is settling. But where it really boils down to is what you just said. And the problem with running a multi-7 figure is that you're not the coach. You're not the marketer. You're the show up, blah, 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 and step out person. And if that works for you, that's hot. But if it's not in your nature and it's crushing your soul, then you shouldn't be doing it, because soul crushing work is not worth any amount of money at all.
Agreed.
I will say that I think the Jeff Walker launch is a marathon of marketing. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go run a marathon. Doesn't mean you're good at it. Doesn't mean you did it right. Doesn't mean anything, but you did it and you deserve kudos for that, because there is a lot to be learned and had and done in that. And then forgive yourself for thinking that you had to do it.
Yeah, I like what you said about, you adopted efficiency. Like, I feel like you took what, there's an expression like you take what you like and you leave the rest. And I feel like that's the ticket. Like the people that I work with now in my unmentor world, it's sort of like what not to do is the game, not what we should be doing, but what is there not to do? What should I be letting go of? What should I say no to? What is not an alignment for me? And lean into the things that are. So like, if you look at it, his formula, like if you look at it like, oh, here's a menu, of course, they'll tell you. And most people that have a system will tell you, like, you do the system, this is how the system works. You got to do it this way to make it work. And I respect that philosophy, right? I'm kind of more of the like, and I do this when I order food, and I know you ladies do this too. It's like the menu is sort of like an ingredient list of what's in the kitchen, and it's like, I want this salad, but I will have this from this one and this from this one. And I think that's what what we could do with a lot of training is like, okay, what really works for me? Now that this is for experienced people, right? I've been exposed to all these things. What do I know really works for me? So let me take this piece that, oh my God, this piece is so working for me. Like, having your spreadsheet with your links, like, right? That could be like the total, like, awesome value that you got from that could change everything.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to say that I think that if you don't get exposed a couple of times in business, you really don't have the wherewithal to be able to make some decisions.
Well,
sure.
Getting exposed. We all love being exposed in business, but yeah, I do think, and here's the thing, and to your point, Lisa, right? Like, if you go down for the count and you have your spreadsheets and you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, like, I like running networking events. That's what I really like to do. And I have a lot of fun when I'm in large groups of people and I'm facilitating and everybody's having a good time. Like, I'm like Jenny, like we're having a party, right? So we're having our party, but if I can't have my party, then I have now a place where, and you saw my brain at the beginning of this before we got on, right? Like, I can actually remember that I had a party. I can remember who's coming to the party. I can remember what we're going to do at the party. And I can remember what time the party starts and ends because it's all written down, which is good for me. But that's also kind of what makes things a little scalable about that. So I want to, you mentioned in your package that you sent over to us, just a lot of sort of unconventional things. And of course, you say that you talk about your unconventional marriage. So I don't know about Michelle, but Jenny and I would like to know about that.
Of course, that's juicy, right?
And how does that, and how does it play into this question of authenticity across, because that's a place we're talking about life, like what works for me in business, what works for me in life. So talk about that and how you got there. And like,
yeah. Well, and I'll acknowledge too, like what you're saying is, I believe that those of us that are mission driven, passion driven, heart centered, like we are our business, and everything in our life, it plays some role in that. It's a holistic journey, right? And so at my 23 years, the people that I work with get, okay, my business is about my healing. All right, I'm ready to jump in. And it's, leading with that creates wealth and enlightenment and all of that. It's like super juicy. So I'm happy to talk about my unconventional marriage, because to me, I say this in my unmentor calls, everybody gets a love seat. I say there's no topic that's off limit, because I'll tell you that the podcast episode on my show where I go into my unconventional marriage is called how opening up my marriage juiced up my business. Because I do believe that there is a direct relationship, because it awakened me. It added dimension. It exposed me to all kinds of things. Like it taught me a million amazing things about relationships, which my coaching clients are relationships. My business partners are relationships. Like, there's just so much. That's episode 11, by the way, if you want to go to the GFR show. And
I'm going to go listen.
Yes,
oh, hell
please.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And then message me. Let me know. I know. I feel like I'm like a back alley, like a non-monogamy coach, death doula, unconventional parenting, like all of these things are who I am, what makes me up me. And of course, my clients go through all of these things hit us in some way. So I'll tell you that after 18 years of marriage, my husband and I decided together that we wanted to have some sexy adventures. And so we started to have sexy adventures, connecting with people, inviting them into our bedroom. It sounds so salacious. And gosh, what an adventure it was to have together and to be able to talk about our fantasies and to reconnect with like our sexuality outside of like between the two of us. And, oh my gosh, so much body image and sexuality and like all of these things. We married when we were 23. And so like not a ton, I didn't have a ton of adventure before that or exploration or experimentation. I did not kiss girls in college and all that. Have since, but not in college. And so, and I know met a lot of couples that were together a long time or high school sweethearts that also were like on this adventure together. Which I think is so great. And so we had an 8-year period of our marriage where it was consensual non-monogamy, like ethical, consensual non-monogamy, right? We both agreed, like, we're having these adventures. We did eventually morph to polyamory where we had, other loves, and came out to my daughter who was 10 at the time, came out to her and my family and had them for the Hanukkah party and the whole like 9 yards. And talk about something that, will evolve you as a human. It is having multiple relationships and navigating kind of like what comes up for you. And it's so interesting how many parallels there are to being an entrepreneur and the feelings that come up when you sell and they reject you and putting yourself out there in your marketing and being vulnerable, like, right. So to me, I feel like it just, like opened me up in, so many multiple ways. And then at the end of 2019, for multiple reasons that I'm not able to dive really deep into in this moment, we made a conscious decision, my husband and I, to go back to monogamy, which was not an easy decision at all whatsoever. It was not without its tears. And it was something that we needed to do for multiple reasons. And so it's kind of a cool thing to sort of have experience together. Like we had this, we had this, the era of, non-monogamy and all those adventures and of course it creates an openness and a connection like no other between he and I. And I don't think we're, quite done yet, but we're done for now.
So here's what's super interesting about that. And
everything's interesting, isn't it?
This is the real, so there's a through line here for me that I think is really important because it has to do with how you approached your business as well, right? And it has to do, I say this all the time, right? Like I'm in this 18-month marathon and I am like not happy. However, I'm remembering training for a sprint distance triathlon and how I wasn't happy then either, but I did it and I felt, I was like, I came in second to last. And my goal was to not throw up. Like I had minimal goals. Like don't come in last, don't puke, right? Just do it and see what it's like. And if you love it, then keep doing it. And if you don't love it, then never do it again, right? Then just don't do it again. And I feel like there's this like, Fred Flintstone built his business like this and he's been doing it this way for 90,000 years. And so if you're going to do it, you're opting in forever. Like everything feels like forever. And I think if we can do that in our most intimate relationships, say, well, let's go try this. And if we don't like it, if it's harmful to us, we'll pull back and we'll stop harming each other and harming ourselves. It's the same thing with business. By all means, go out and try it. And if it doesn't work for you, no harm, no foul. I don't feel guilty. I'm kind of pissed that I burned through my entire bankroll, but so now I know what it feels like to burn through a bankroll. Right. And I think there's something to be said for that. And that's a wonderful mentorship, Lisa, to be able to let people know, we'll try it. It's not forever. It's for now.
Yes.
So in all of that, what was your biggest takeaway from that experience? Because I know there's a lot of them, because girl, I also not at liberty to say anything because I'm not the only person in it. but we have a lot in common. We'll just leave it there. Okay. And what I'm curious is what's the biggest takeaway from that experience leading into what you're doing in your business now that monogamous people who that's their only experience could also learn from?
Well, in my current work, like I talked about the intimacy that I enjoy, and that requires a high level of safety, which I think also requires for me a comfort level with all kinds of stuff that people could be experiencing, navigating, afraid to confess about. And I believe that experience really, like, I feel like there's nothing that anyone could say that I wouldn't be able to have a poker face and just listen to what they say. And my show is, the tagline is straight talk and confessions from successful soulful entrepreneurs. And the things that people have shared on the show, from like, I think I'm an alien, to I have $350,000 in debt, to I was in jail, to I tried to commit suicide, to, you know, like, there's so much. And these are all successful entrepreneurs. I think it's the safety that I'm able to now create, the container I'm now able to create, that was largely impacted by that experience. And it was a masterclass in gender and sexual identity journeys, which I've always been so totally open to all of that stuff. But like, I had not, kissed a trans man, like I had not, I had no idea really what the full spectrum of that journey. Oh, and I will tell you, and you're asking me as it relates to my business, but I'll tell you, as a parent of a now teenager, girl, I am so grateful that I dated, just like, 10 years ago, I was dating, even though I've been married 23 years, like, that I was dating and starting new relationships and like navigating all that. Cause I just feel like I had so much that I can relate to with my daughter and her, her adventures as well.
I would agree, because it's a whole different landscape now than 20, 25 years ago when some of us got married for the first time.
Yeah. My husband and I dated 3 months. So it's not like I have a ton of, I think I had one other long-term boyfriend before that, So
oh, wow.
Not
okay.
a lot.
There you go.
Draw on.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
So,
yeah.
So kind of moving back again, nothing is forever. When you decided to shut down this 7-figure business, what was going on for you that drove that? And what were some of the, like, for me, and, anytime we're doing an ending, there is a barrier, there is a resistance, there is a fear, right? When we're ending things to do other things. So talk a little bit about the decision and how you moved through the grief, if you will, or of that.
Yeah. No, grief is a perfect word. What I have found now in counseling lots of other people on ending parts of their business, if not the whole thing. And I have a lot of people come to me, like, I really hate my business, like, that you would not expect, is that it starts with the actual confession to yourself that you are unhappy. Mm-hmm. And then the external confession to someone. And that's the start. Mm-hmm. In fact, the confession idea is like something I've really had a lot of fun with through the podcast and in our GFR squad community, which is like a $20 a month group that I have that just, we talk about the show. We go through our GFR commandments and those confession questions. And it's all about the power of just confessing, just saying the thing out loud with no other anything needed. You don't have to be accountable. And what's your next step? And like, none of that, like, just say the thing. And it's magic what happens when we can GFR, get effing real with ourself first, like in our head, like let the thought not just flow in and out, but actually land, and then maybe journal about it, and then maybe tell a confidant. changes everything. So that was the first step, is to admit that this is not fun, even though it's a 6-7 figure business and it's wildly successful. And I 100 people from all over the world, and all these programs, I wasn't having fun. So that was the first. So that would be, if you're like, how to get out of your business or a significant thing, 101 is the confession for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that. And I think it leads into self-permission. And that, I think that kind of letting somebody else know, once you've gone through it, you kind of grounded yourself on, because a lot of people are so afraid of saying what's going on for themselves to themselves that it becomes a jumble, and they haven't even got it clear themselves what's going on internally, let alone being able to articulate that to somebody. But when they go through what you did, it's well, not even that they have to go through what you did, but the process that you take them through to be able to give themselves permission to do the thing, that translates immensely in business. Because when somebody doesn't give themselves permission to be them and say, hey, I like kink, hey, I like whatever, they run around in business with this, oh, I'm not allowed to be me, oh, I'm not allowed to say that out loud, oh, I'm not allowed to. And it just translates into everything, in my experience. In yours? What have you noticed from the people that kind of, once they've confessed themselves, what's the transformation there?
So I mentioned the GFR commandments, and I'll just hold them up to the camera here, just real quickly. But number 3 is, don't worry about being normal, proper, or polite. So it's my answer to what it's my answer to your question. Don't worry about being normal, proper, polite. And these commandments aren't things that I pulled out of the air. It's stuff I would say over and over.
Will you share
over
them?
and over? Yes.
Yes.
No. Yes.
We want to hear them.
You want me to share all of them?
Yeah. Would you?
Well, I want to answer Michelle's question.
Yes.
And so, and then I'm happy to share my favorites. So the confession question for don't worry about being normal, proper, or polite is, where am I not speaking my truth? Where am I not speaking my truth? And so to me, that is the epicenter of the power of confession, is speaking our truth. And it's a super high value, if not the highest value, for me in what fulfills me and has me feel like I'm living my purpose on this planet. And the immediate transformation is something that Virginia talked about in the very beginning, which is imposter syndrome. The immediate transformation is, well, I don't worry about people finding me out. I don't have this imposter syndrome, because I'm actually speaking my truth. I'm actually being who I am. So I don't have to worry, no one's going to find me out, Lisa Cherney, because there's nothing that I'm really hiding. Maybe I might have imposter syndrome. Oh, can I really coach this master coach, kind of thing? Because, that's who comes to me now. But even just this morning, I had a session with somebody who was a master coach. And I could feel there was this little part of me that was she's I'm not certified in nothing. So I don't have any of those credentials. But even just being mindful of that vulnerability, to me, is the power of confession and the transformation that creates.
I love it.
Love it. So what are some of your other highlighted ones?
Oh, my other, I would probably top of the list, other than after number 3, don't worry about being normal, proper, and polite, is make yourself your most important client. And the confession question for that is, if I was my own client, what would I tell myself? And so I've been pointing people to themselves to do their own work for as long as I've been coaching. And say the last 5-6 years since GFR became more in the forefront of my mission, I have noticed that, and this probably would apply to you all, experienced entrepreneurs, and I'm not saying that they're making a certain amount of money. It's not that. People that have just been at it for a while, been around the block, they know that their transformation, their evolution is connected to their work. They just know it. They've seen it. They've seen the shitstorm of things happen and how they come out the other side. And it's oh my God, I just had a PhD and, fill in the blank. So that's the epicenter of make yourself your most important client. Like it is like, and my GFR squad, they call it your like I would be VIP Lisa. Like, okay, so what is VIP Lisa? Like, how do I need to serve VIP Lisa? Well, I need to serve her. I need to take 5 weeks off after her mom died. Like VIP Lisa needs to take 5 weeks off after her mom died, which is what I did, which was scary. And I, had all these fears about it. But when you are your own client, like it's like, you make that a priority. It's not a every 6 months or so I should do my own work. It's no like, okay, for today, what do I need? Like, what do I need to say to myself that I just said to somebody yesterday? And right, even as I say things to my clients now in the moment, I'm like, all right, Lisa Cherney, you're going to listen to what you're saying to your client. I hope you're listening to what you say to your client. Like, to me, that's magic. That magic, that alchemy that's created when we make ourselves our most important client, and consistently we are asking ourselves, what would I tell myself? That makes millions in my book.
Well, it makes for a much happier existence, right? It which I think is just fascinating. So we've got a few more minutes to have a conversation, but I do want to affirm this one thing, Lisa, because we met almost a decade ago, right? And you scared the crap out of me back then. You were, I don't mean this, like I'm meaning this in total love, right? But like you were hard hitting and you were in it to win it. And you were like,
I was proving myself. I was all about, I need to prove myself.
You were like fucking Xena warrior, princess, Wonder Woman, like Wakanda forever, like, and
on the outside, maybe.
Yeah, no. And I'm like, and me too, right? So what's so interesting about this sort of doubling back and getting to meet you now in this moment at this time, after I've just been through a whole bunch of stuff and whatever, I'm like, man, this is what was hiding inside all of that. And it's really juicy.
It was hiding in
a monogamy thing right now. I might drink.
My divine curriculum. That was part of my divine curriculum.
but yeah, like I just want to affirm that I completely, utterly see it, and I honor it, and I'm like a half an inch behind you, like moving in that same direction where I'm like, man, everything I thought I wanted was somebody else's construct. And I'm kind of just living in somebody else's construct all the time is for effing exhausting, right?
Yeah.
Like it's exhausting to live in someone else's construct. It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah. Sounds like we might need to talk offline.
I'd love to. It'd be fun. We should chat.
I love that we have this 10-year like looping back around. I just love that. I love that because I think about the girl that was in that room. I thought I was with the cool kids. I was so excited to be there. I didn't know how I ended up there. And I had such approving energy for so long that I'm so over that it's kind of fun to think back about her.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And then we did that. Do you remember we did that? Michelle will know this. It was that that Jay Facette was there, and we did that I trust you, I don't trust you, I don't know exercise.
I do not remember that.
Oh my God. That's where I totally remember you. I walked right up to you. I was like, I don't trust you. And you're like, me neither. Like, it was like that. It was like that. Yeah. And I remember walking up to Cindy Schultz and going, yeah, I trust you. She's like, I don't trust you. And I was like, oh, it was like, it's so painful. And I circled back around with her and she was like, yeah, y'all scared the cooties out of me. I was like, we were all literally in that room. All of us were in that room in posture at that moment. Like the more I'm reconnecting with people from that moment, and everybody's kind of coming back, right? Coming full circle. I'm like, man, we were all fearful and scared and trying to prove our value and not let anybody see that maybe we weren't worthy of being there, whatever. It's super, super interesting.
And I think too, Lisa, when you were speaking earlier about that, taking yourself on as a client, I had a moment where I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it is. Then that's perfect. That's perfect. Yep, girl, then yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I got to tell you, I'm so glad I'm doing this podcast because let me tell you, the people that we are bringing on, including you, who are just Like walking me down my path. Thank you very much.
Me too. Every guest, I'm like, oh my God, this is so just for me that I have on my show. I totally get it.
Right.
Isn't that the genius of podcasting though? We get to interview people, and we get all this juicy stuff, and we get to ask questions.
And then we get to share it with the rest of the world and say, look at how brilliant this person is. They're making a difference in my life just from a 45-minute conversation. Man, I hope you get the same thing. And man, if you want more, reach out to Lisa. So at this point, do we want to switch over and ask her our questions?
Yeah, it's time.
Oh, now you're going to start asking questions?
We need a little sound effect for this, because like it's time for body question.
Yeah.
Michelle, take it away.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Lisa?
Yes, I'm ready.
When it comes to your marketing, do you prefer domination or seduction?
Seduction.
Nice. When you're networking, are you an exhibitionist or a voyeur?
Exhibitionist.
When it comes to leadership, do you prefer to be a lady dom or a power sub? Feel free to ask for definitions.
I'm a switch.
Nice. When it comes to your team, do you prefer to be married to them or have mistresses?
Married, but non-monogamous.
Well, that's a different question.
And when it comes to entrepreneurship, do you prefer monogamy or polyamory?
Polyamory.
Nice.
All right.
Well done. Well done.
Well done, Lisa.
You survived.
Well done.
Did I win? Do I win? Do I get
You win. You win kisses all around, if that's okay.
Yay!
It's like,
And you satisfied all of us.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. It's been a
We're
while,
all
y'all.
smoking our cigarettes here, Lisa. Was that good for you?
It was so good for me. Was it good for you?
Hey, Lisa, so I know you actually have a gift for our listeners. So let's, and it's actually what I asked you for. And then I was like, wait, she's probably going to give it as a gift. Why would she give it away now? So you want to talk about your gift?
Yeah, it's the GFR commandments, the roadmap for getting real. And so if you go to gfr.life, life/12C, like 12 commandments, you'll get the PDF and then a little bit of a training on how to utilize them, which I will just say it's not a 12-step program, y'all. So you don't have to go from 1 to 12. You skim them and you see which one is the one, that is for you right now. So like Jenny knows that hers is number 5, make yourself your most important client. And you'll just know, it'll like glow at you. So that is my gift. And it is a joy to have a roadmap. Like, how do I get real, Lisa Cherney? This is how, and it will illuminate all kinds of juicy hidden nooks and crannies that are holding you back, right? That are holding you back from putting yourself out there, then holding you back from speaking your truth, holding you back from finding your way that you want to market, holding you back from saying no and getting rid of shit that doesn't work for you. It will illuminate all those things.
Super juicy. Oh my gosh. Love it, love it, love it. Make sure, listener, that you go to the show notes in case you're like, oh my God, what was the link again? We are going to make sure that you don't have to try and spell it right and get the right slash and all that fun stuff. We've got the link in the show notes. Now, if this is the first time you're ever listening to the show and you're like, show notes, what are those? How do I get to those? Grab your phone, as long as you're not driving. Click on today's episode, click on that little thing that says see more, and then scroll and you will see the link directly to Lisa's gift, and click on it and then download it. And that's how you're going to get access to Lisa's gift. So Lisa, thank you so much for your time, expertise, and generosity in sharing all of it.
You are very welcome. This was a blast.
Oh, we so appreciate you. Now, make sure you also check in the show notes for all of Lisa's contact information. So if you want other ways to reach out to her, find her on all the socials and everything, make sure you check the show notes there. And connect with the Bad Girls on Business at badgirlsonbusiness.com. Don't forget to check each of our bios because each of us has a gift for you as our listener. And If you would like to be a guest on the show, you can apply. We have open applications right now for future guests. So please click on the button today if you are interested in being on the show and being interviewed by the Bad Girls on Business. So stay tuned because there's another Bad Girls episode on the way.
Thank you for listening to the Bad Girls on Business podcast. Don't forget to check the show notes for any links mentioned in this episode and for additional contact information about the guest or our hostesses. If this show got you going, we'd love to hear about it when you subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Can't get enough of the direct sales dom, the referral diva, or your mistress in business? The Bad Girls have hidden their gift for you at badgirlsonbusiness.com. When you find the Easter egg, use the password BGOB to unlock your treasure chest of goodies.